What's up, Capstone family? This is Drummond coming at you on this June the 10th, Friday, 2022. I hope you're having an amazing week out there. Interesting week in residential real estate here in the Phoenix market for this week. We're seeing some shifts. We're seeing the changes. You're probably hearing about it on the news. Here in Arizona, the shift isn't as crazy as we'd probably expect in other parts of the country. However, we are seeing some numbers that are leaning towards us being in, a pretty interesting shifting market right now. If you've been paying attention to the numbers, you know that our active inventory has doubled in the last 2 months. We've gone from about 4,200 homes that were active on the MLS, which was historic lows, to closer to our 2019 numbers of 9,000 active houses on the market. What does that mean for you? And if you're not getting the emails that I'm sending you and you're finding these videos on YouTube, I'm going to send you, I'm going to put a link down below that you can actually subscribe. And what I'm doing is taking a lot of the verbiage that we're getting from our friends over at Crawford Report. They're the ones who really crunch the numbers and look at it from a perspective that is just MLS numbers driven. Then what we're doing is looking at that information, seeing how that coincides with what we've got going on here, because now the amount of doors that we have, we're seeing changes consistently. For example, this week we're seeing that, wow, we have a lot of active inventory on the market. The guys are out showing, right? We've got a lot of renters out there looking for properties. However, we're getting a lot more back. We're seeing a lot more new inventory hitting the market. We're busier on the leasing side than we've been in a very, very, very long time. So there are a lot of things that's telling us. One, which you're probably hearing about on the mortgage side, is that there's not a lot of new mortgage starts compared to what has been in the past. So not a lot of people are out rushing to get mortgages right now because rates went up so high. So now we're starting to see rates kind of trickle down. Buyers will probably get back in the saddle here, but for this next year, I'd expect that we're going to be renting a lot of properties. Rents are stabilizing. We're seeing a lot more owners having to go to the MLS to rent their properties, which means that they're not having success on their own. It's not as easy to just, rent the property out like they were just 6 months ago versus now, because there's so much more inventory that they're competing with. Therefore, MLS is usually like the last place that we're posting our rentals, similar for everybody else. So it's like if we're seeing a lot more on the MLS, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's more rentals that are out there. It might just mean that they're just having a harder time of filling them, which we're starting to see a little bit as well. The guys are out hustling right now, but again, there's a lot of people looking, but a lot of inventory too. So keep in mind, when it comes to pushing the price on rentals, we're probably through that. We're at the space now where we need to just be getting the good rents that we expect, not pushing it too much further, and go from there. The next thing I really want to bring up, and I had this conversation this week with more than a few people, but one of my favorites. So I don't even want to say one. My favorite client is Mama. I gotta give her a shout on this one. And she led to this part of the conversation because I thought it was so helpful for me to see it through her lens this week too. Tia Virginia, you're a very, very, very close second. But two of my favorite clients, they're part of the Las Tres Viejita crew out in California. I appreciate y'all. But one of the things that it came up was we're talking about goals. And I know I've been bringing this up a lot lately, but this is the market right now where we need to be paying attention to what are your future goals with your property? What does your exit strategy really look like? My exit strategy is uniquely my own. Right? I know what I'm going to do, and I know that right now, if the market changes, if the market were to come down, which I don't think prices are going to come down very much, if at all, but if they were, it's not really going to affect me. doesn't really bother me. I'm in this for the long haul. I got another 10 to 15 years before I'm exiting at all, right? I'm still in acquisition mode because that's where I am in my life. However, if that's not you, then maybe it is time to consult with your tax advisor and your wealth advisor. If you don't have one, let me know. I've got a couple that I would be happy to recommend. I've got 2 wealth advisors that I'd recommend to anybody. I've got 2 wealth advisors, or 2 tax advisors that I would also recommend to anybody, as I would recommend them to my mom. If you have people that you trust, this might be the time to connect with them and see how your real estate portfolio matches up with what your current and your long-term goals are. And if that fits, awesome, you're off to the races. You know what you need to be doing anyway, right? It might just be reaffirming what your goals are, and just an additional little push to help you in knowing that that's where you need to be, and those are the decisions that you need to be making, right? However, this market, this crazy appreciating market that we've seen, this 30% gains, since last year, that's crazy. There is a high probability, looking at the trajectory of what's happening with this market, that we're not going to see 30% gains this year. So if we're only going to see 10% gains, or if we were only going to see 20% gains, or if we were only going to see 5% gains, how would that affect you? And could you take that, and would this be the time to exit this market and be able to get better returns, or something that fits more your long-term, short-term goals, right? So this is the time to start having those harder conversations. It's very challenging living in the space of being an investor when you know what your goals are, and without really putting that out to everybody, no one, even myself, I don't know what your real goals are. They're within you, right? So if I know only what I know, and I can at least just point you different directions as to what options are available, that's what I will do that to the best of my ability. However, it's really up to you to figure out, what does that goal look like? Not the goal of your neighbor, not the goal of some dude on a video that's telling you what his are, but what are yours, and how does this current market fit into yours? If you'd like to have that conversation, I would love to. I love picking holes in our plans to seeing what makes the most sense as the market changes. I think that's where, at least me personally, I can offer a lot of value, because I do see from a lot of your perspectives what things are changing in your lives and how this market is affecting it. And I just find it so interesting. So if there's something I can do to help in that side, please let me know. Also, if there's someone I could refer to you, or you're looking for somebody that's top level in their certain specific industry, whether a wealth advisor or a tax advisor, please let me know. Also, family planning right now is very, very, very important. If you have maybe an adult parent that is looking to leave their property, and you want to make sure that the house is really, the plan is set up and structured, so when they decide to move out, or you decide that you're going to have to take over at a certain point, now you know that it's structured correctly. I got a great guy for that too. He did our family trust, and I couldn't recommend him more. So if you're looking for that referral, I can give that to you too. Let me know how I can help. I hope this was helpful. Again, please check out the data that I included in the actual email itself. Tons of helpful stuff. You'll see where a lot of the perspective that I have is coming from the metric side. But again, what I brought today really came from what we're seeing here in the office and what we're seeing with our clients. I appreciate you so much. Have an amazing weekend. If you haven't, you want to get these regularly, please subscribe down below. Look forward to connecting again. Thank you.